Hi everyone, welcome to the Positively Knitting Podcast. My name is Nicole and I am so happy that I can find some time in today to sit down and talk to you guys about the things that I have been knitting and crocheting. So, I've been kind of crazy busy because this has been the couple of weeks, well 3 weeks, has it been 3 weeks of winter break for my kids? First of all, since when do kids get 3 weeks? Like, that is crazy. Okay, like, shouldn't the parents get to vote on this stuff? I vote for like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then the day after Christmas, and then they can go, unless it's like a weekend. But it's been crazy. Anyways, sorry, I digress. So the kids are home on the last week of their Christmas break, and this past Monday, my husband and I wanted to do something for the boys, so we decided to take a road trip. We went up north to Fresno, California. We were headed to Columbia, California, but that's like it's about 4 hours from where we live, and because we got a late start that morning, we couldn't make it there. Instead, we ended up in Fresno, which was just fine, and the boys got to go to a skate park, and then after we left Fresno, we went to a city called Visalia because there was another skate park there, and on top of there being a skate park there was a yarn shop too that I may have visited. Yeah, Stash Down 2014 is in full effect, right? Okay, so on Instagram, which is the devil and a big time suck, and I love it to death, right? On Instagram, Lois and Wendy, Knitting's My Bag and Knit When Wendy, they're all like Stash Down 2014, Stash Down 2014, and I'm like, whoop whoop, Stash Down 2014, right? I'm about it. I'm about it. I have way too much fingering weight yarn. Matter of fact, I'm starting to get way too much acrylic too. So yes, I am all about the Stash Down 2014, right? I was so pumped about it, you guys. You have no idea. I'm going to knit from Stash. I'm going to crochet from Stash. I want to do it all from Stash. I'm not going to buy yarn because I have enough yarn. So let me sit down and plot the things that I'm going to make for 2014 that are going to make me happy, right? So not only is the Stash Down 2014, it's make a knitter happy in 2014. So I got a pen and a pad, and I sat down and I wrote down all of the patterns that I wanted to make that I felt that would make me happy. And a couple of the patterns I had mentioned back in 2013 that I wanted to make, and I just never got around to doing it. And I am so about getting it done this year because I just love the patterns, right? Okay, so Stash Down. It's time to cast on, right? Well, I put the book that I'm picking, a lot of the things that I'm casting on, which are socks. Can you believe it? Socks, because what do you do with fingering weight yarn if you're me? Okay, this knitter right here likes to make socks with fingering weight yarn, and I also like to make the occasional shawl. Yes, I have to say it. I do like to make shawls, even if I don't wear them. I will make a shawl way before I will make a cowl or a fingering weight hat. Yes, give me a shawl. And they're just good. And people like to get shawls, right? So worst come to worst, if I make a shawl and, I don't keep it, I always have something to go in the gift box to give to somebody, right? Okay, so I'm sitting down and I'm writing down my shawls and I'm looking through this book. This book right here, you guys, this book is Folk Socks by Nancy Bush. This book right here, I love it. So I was on Instagram looking through everybody's pictures because I'm nosy like that. And Deb C. Quilts posted that Interweave was having a sale. This was back in December. And the books were super duper duper cheap, right? So, and that's my favorite price. Okay, my favorite price is free, but like next to that is super duper duper cheap. So I went and I decided to give myself a gift of books. And I really wanted this book. This book cost me $4. So I got 3 books. I got this book, and I got another color workbook that's not around here. Then I got a Molly Makes Christmas book. Those 3 books. Oh, and a DVD. Yes, a DVD on sewing pillows, right? those 4 items with shipping cost me less than $20. You cannot tell me that that's not worth it. Like, that was the bestest Christmas present ever, right? Well, kind of the second one, because my husband one-upper got me a serger. So, back to the book. When I got the book, I tore into it immediately. And there are socks in here that I know that I have to make, because I love making socks. I would never think that I would be that person, but they do make me happy. And I also love to do color work, because I just get a wonderful sense of accomplishment. And once I'm done with the color work item, I just feel like I just feel so proud of it. So color work and socks. And that is like the best way of using, to me, stash, because I get to use 2 different color sock yarns in a project. And if I break into it, and Lois too, if we break into the sock yarn, if it's used, it's gone, right? It's the whole skein is gone. If I use a little of it, the whole skein is gone, so that counted, right? So I was picking out socks, then I went to go look at my stash, and when I looked at my stash, I realized that my stash was not well-rounded at all. I had a whole lot of variegated stripy yarn, but I did not have a lot of solid color sock yarn, and I need that for color work. Like, I can get away with color work with the one variegated skein yarn, but 2 would not work for my aesthetic. So my stash down quickly, you guys, turned into stash round, meaning I want to round out my stash. Any yarn that comes into my stash that I purchase, I want to use it to help round my stash out. So I'll be able to go up in my stash and make a complete something, and not just, I can't make a complete anything except for a sweater. I have 1 sweater's worth of yarn. I can make an ugly sweater. I could. It'd be a nice ugly sweater. But I have realized that I am not the sweater maker. I am not that knitter. This knitter will make some socks this year. So anyways, but I did go on my stash and I pulled out a skein of yarn that I already had wound up, and it's been wound up for like a year or 2. I think more like 2 than 1. So I really wanted to knit with that sock yarn, and then I had to find a contrasting color sock yarn, so I did that. And you guys, I ended up really having to bite the bullet and go and, with my Christmas money, buy some Quince & Co. I know, poor me, had to go shopping with the Christmas money. Woo. And that's what I did. And I'm really glad that I realized that I needed some solid sock yarn, as opposed to just going out and buying more yarn, because I'd be so mad. I just really. So the good thing about Stash Down 2014 is that it has already made me go and just really take a second look at my stash. And according to Lois, if buying 1 skein helps you use up 2 or 3 or 5, then it is so worth it. So I kind of modified that. If buying 1 skein helps me use up 1 skein, especially when the skeins cost about $7 or $8. And I'm saying that because I purchased some Quince & Company Finch yarn. And this is the dogwood colorway. I got 5 skeins of yarn, but this, I'm just showing you guys one of them. And the dogwood colorway is a really pale pink, super pale, with a touch of gray, but it's beautiful. And the reason I got the Finch is because not only am I working on, of course, a sock out of this book, I'm also working on the socks that I was working on the last time I talked to you guys, and that is my Christmas present from Lois Knitting My Bag, from Lollipop Yarn. Right, and right now I cannot remember the colorway, but this is just a basic stockinette sock. I am making these on size 1 signature needles because I like the cables. I like them, and because they were a gift, not because I had to buy them myself. because they were a gift. I have 2 pair. My husband gave me one, and Lois gave me one, and oh, these are the best gift ever. Look at me. Every gift that I get is the best gift ever. Can you tell? Anything that I don't have to buy with my own money, best gift ever. So I'm working on these, and I worked on this for a hot second when I was going up north. So I did put in the waste yarn for an afterthought heel. And basically an afterthought heel is a heel that it's when you knit your whole sock. You knit for a while. For me, it was 6 inches from the cast on edge. I put in a different color, contrasting color of waste yarn, and you knit the rest of it, and you to the toe, you finish your sock, and you go back. You stop short about 2 inches. 2 inches works for me, so I stopped short 2 inches, and I go back and I add my heel afterwards. If you guys are interested in doing afterthought heels, there are tutorials on YouTube. I've watched YouTube. There are also free patterns about with the afterthought heel on Ravelry. So check that out. But I am just using a basic stockinette sock. I am doing pretty much my own thing. And I cast on 60 stitches because my legs are not thick. I got little tiny ankles. And I love how this yarn is knitting up. I love the colors. But the problem with this, the only problem with this yarn is that the color is a little too masculine, and I am afraid that my son might go in and pick this sock up and put it on. So that's why I got the Finch to go with it. Because it doesn't look the best here, but trust me, you guys, it look, and even if you don't think it looks good, I don't care. It's my sock. Sorry. Snarky. So I'm going to take this dogwood color, and I'm going to use it for the toe and also for a contrasting heel, and I think that'll look really good, and it will keep my son from putting his foot in my sock because it's more like pink. And the kind of the color inspiration for this sock came from this bag, because the colors in the donuts are a lot of the colors that are in the sock, and the pink really does go to set off the chocolates and the taupes and the blacks and the blues. So I think it'll look really, 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 really good. It looks good when I hold it together in the right sunlight. But today in California, it doesn't know if it wants to be sunny or overcast, which is okay because it's winter and it's like 50 something degrees, and that's fine too, especially since I have a heated blanket down here. So I got the Quincy Company yarn for that, and then I also got it to make the socks that are in this book, right? Because really I needed to round out the stash, like I was saying. And these socks, look at the socks that are in these books. Like, some of these must be made. They are crazy, crazy, crazy color work socks. I mean, but I'm up for the challenge. I really am up for challenging myself this year. And these will definitely be made. I love these. Now, as far as the stash down goes, I know that Lois joined a sock stash down in Sock Bunny Knit and Fit. And basically what you do is you take your, you get a brown bag or whatever kind of bag that you may have, and every month you put your socks in there. So you at least know that you're going to make I think they call it like a sock club, but at least you know every month you're going to make a pair of socks, and you assign each sock a month. So I'm not that strict about it. I know that I probably would like to accomplish a pair of socks every month, but I'm not sure what socks I'll feel like making at what month. But I know that there are some of the socks that need to be made in this book because I love these. Color work and socks are making me happy right now, and like I say, knit what makes you happy, and I am going to knit what makes me happy, and that's why I cast on this sock right here. This sock is the Lithuanian Amber Socks, and it's this sock calls for, I love having the book here because I can read it, you guys. Size 1 superfine or fingering weight yarn. That's #1 superfine fingering weight yarn. And also what was really shocking to me is that the pattern says that you need a US size 3 needle. And this book calls for double pointed needles. I didn't own any size 3 double pointed needles. I had a size 3 circular needle, size 3 Chalgu circular needle. And of course I keep my socks in my cousin's. This is my cousin's bag from Knitting's My Bag. I love this bag. I love all my bags. But I did not have a size 3 double pointed needles because I'm not really a double pointed needle sock knitter, right? But I did cast on these socks with my size 3 32-inch ChiaoGoo needles. And then when we had to make a stop at my local yarn shop because we just had to create a view. And when I was there, I managed to pick up some size 3 double pointed needles because on top, and these are the Knitter's Pride. I don't know if you guys can see it because of the sunlight. But on top of doing color work and, knitting mostly from stash, and also buying with the stash that I have in mind, I want to challenge myself technically too. So, and also, which to me is using double pointed needles. So I wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone and use double pointed needles. So I did purchase a pair of size 3 double pointed needles, and I switched from the circulars to the double pointed needles, and I am not having a problem with it. Now, these socks, if you guys really want to see a good picture of the socks, you can go ahead and look on Instagram. I do post mostly what I'm making. I post a lot of the things that I am knitting or crocheting on Instagram because I feel better sharing there. I don't know why. I just do. But this is the progress that I have made so far. I did dig into my stash, use this yarn that I had balled up for about 2 years. This yarn is from Freckle Face Fibers. I love this yarn. The dyer is Nicole. She does not dye yarn anymore. I can't stand it, but I'm so glad that I do have a couple of skeins. So I did use this skein up, and the green is Cascade, just regular Cascade sock. Yes, Cascade sock. And I think this sock yarn, I cannot remember the name of the sock yarn because I took the ball off because I planned on using this yarn like 2 years ago and I never got around to doing it. So it's already balled up. But it is so pretty. It's just gorgeous. Like, this light does not do this sock yarn any justice. It's beautiful. And the green, well, what goes, purple and green went well, and hey, I had it in my stash. So, but this is the 75% merino superwash and 25% nylon, and this is 437 yards. So I won't be using, I'm sure, all 437 yards of the green. And the color number is 5658. Okay, but this purple right here, I just love it. So here is the thing with color work, okay? I could talk this whole show about color work because it is crazy interesting for me, but it's also a lot of work. That's why they call it color work, right? So when I started, if you guys can tell, you can't really see the V's or the knit one contrasting color in the first row, right? And that's because my tension was way too tight. So I had to just back up when I saw that I had made that mistake, ease up on my tension, and relax. And so far you can see the V's. Now the reason my ribbing looks different. I think the sock in the book is blocked because the ribbing looks more like this. I'm a little girl. I need for my ribbing to be tight, so I'm not going to block it. And I had never done a 2-color heel. I rarely ever do these types of heel, but I did the heel 2-color, no problems. My suggestion is not to be too hard on yourself when doing color work. Cut yourself some slack. I am doing my color work with both my right and my left hand. I started off being a thrower, and then I taught myself how to pick, right? So, yes. So I started off learning how to knit with my right hand, and then I learned how to knit. I taught myself how to knit with my left hand. And doing color work, it really does come in handy, the fact that I'm able to use both of my hands. I also found that I should hold my contrast color in my left hand because I'm not as tight on that color, so you can see the V's, right? And I didn't like picking up I don't like doing heels of any kind because I don't like picking up for the gusset, but I didn't have any problem. And so far, so good. These socks are making me very, very, very happy. And right now I've done the gusset and the heel, and I'm working on the foot, and I'm down to where I just have to knit a 4-row repeat until the sock is 2 inches less than my toe, and then go for the toe. So I'm very happy. I am very, very happy. Yeah. So 2 skeins of sock yarn down out of stash, right? Right. Yeah. And I love them. The reason I picked these socks to start off with was because, number one, they have a smaller cuff, and number two, they did not look like super complicated color work, so it wouldn't kill me. I'm sorry, you guys. So it wouldn't kill me, and I wouldn't be angry about it, because a lot of times I talk myself into doing these projects, and then I get angry about them, and then I just put them to the side because it becomes too much for me to do. So far so good. And if you guys can trust me, this book, this Folk Socks by Nancy Bush, this book was so worth the the $4. Okay, now the next thing that I want to show you guys is this blanket right here. Crochet, yes, crochet in the house. I was sitting down a couple of weeks ago, and I was watching Breaking Bad with my husband, and the only season, I have to say, I think it's the second season, the one with Gus. If you guys are Breaking Bad aficionados out there, the only season of Breaking Bad that I really enjoyed was when Gus was in it. After that season, after it ended, I could care less about it. But I had never seen the first season of Breaking Bad, and I gave my husband the first season for a Christmas gift. So we're sitting here, and he's subjecting me to the first season of Breaking Bad, and I'm like over it. Once I'm over something, I'm over it. Completely over Breaking Bad, right? So, but I'm sitting here being a good wife and being subjected to Breaking Bad, and just like, and I'm and because I don't like Skylar, the wife. I just don't get her. The son is ridiculous. I don't see how. I don't care if he is a special needs kid or whatever. There's no way that boy is talking to anybody in my house like he talks to his parents. Anywho, so I'm sitting here in the evening watching Breaking Bad. My husband's happy and I'm okay. And I see a crochet throw on the couch in the home of Walt, the main character, right? And I'm like, oh goodness, that's a crochet throw. I never noticed that, right? So I think it's the Catherine's wheel pattern, which I am not going to attempt, because me even knowing the name means I know that it's way too complicated for me to do. And then it was in a rainbow colors with black in it, and that's not going to match my house, right? But then they go to another couch, and there's another crochet throw on there. And not only is it crochet, but it's a big old granny square crochet throw in the colors of my house. And I get so excited about it that my husband just laughs out loud, because I'm sitting there talking to myself, plotting on how to make this throw, right? Because it must be made. It must be made. Like, really. It just must be made. So I'm like, I wonder if there's a pattern on Ravelry for it, because there is a pattern on Ravelry for all the things. So I go to Ravelry and I look, and sure enough, there is a general pattern, and like super general. Like I cued it and I cast it on, just so if anybody is, wondering about it, they can have a jumping off point, because the pattern does link to some of the pictures. But basically it is a big granny square blanket. And what we've been doing is we've been looking at Breaking Bad, and my husband will stop it and I'll try to count the rows. So, and then we took like the pictures and stuff, and we went to Joann's and And I looked in my stash. We went to Joann's and we got yarn because this blanket had to be made. But the parameters were for buying yarn was that it had to be really, really close enough. Not only did it have to be close, it didn't have to be the exact color, it had to be close enough, but it also had to be on sale because I'm not breaking the budget for a Breaking Bag crochet granny square Afghan. But you guys, I have managed to find yarn that is close enough, so it's Breaking Bad-ish, right? So I cast on for my I call it Break Bad because that was the words that Pinkman used to Walt that stood out in my head. I'm like, this is where they got the name from because Walt he asked Walt if he all of a sudden decided to break bad. So I'm deciding to break bad and doing this blanket, right? So the colors that I found for my blanket are this pink color right here is Bernat Super Saver. The color is Pumpkin. This is also Bernat Super Saver, and this color is Dark Heather, even though I don't know where to get the color. I don't name the colors, right? This color right here is Vanna's Choice, and this color is Toffee, and then this chocolate color right here, I just started it, right? I know you guys can't see. But this chocolate color right here is, oh, that's better. It's not. Well, this chocolate color right here is the Caron Pound of Love, and it is espresso. I did put every color and how much that I've used so far of each yarn on my project page on Ravelry, so check it out. And there's also a picture of the beginning. And I tried to the best of my abilities to count the rounds, and I did put in how many of each color to make for each round. The beautiful thing about the yarn is that for a skein of this orange, the Bernat, I paid $3.36, which is great, for like 400 and something yards. So yay, right? The Caron Pound of Love was it was on sale for 25% off, and then there was a coupon for additional 10% off, which really made me angry because you guys know that I love using my coupons at Joann's. And I'm like, I'm just gonna wait until they take the yarn off sale because there's always a 40% coupon or 50% coupon, and that's cheaper. But I really needed it, so I didn't have any color in my stash to use with it. So yeah, if you guys have Vanna's Choice and you're all about it, for me the Vanna's Choice was way too expensive because I would need, except for the Toffee. Well, it just to make a whole. I think the Toffee by itself was $2.39, but the yardage isn't that great. And I thought I had a skein, but I know. But the yardage isn't as great as the Bernat because it made it a better value. And I am shopping. Everything I do, it really is on a budget because I'm cheap. I don't know what happened to me, y'all. But yeah, so these are the colors that I've used. If you guys are interested in making it, I did put the number of rounds as close to what I could get it on my Ravelry page. And so far, so good. So this is how big it is so far. And I think this is 12, 10, so that's 22. And this is like 28. I think I am 28 rounds in, and this is how big it is. Now, the only mistake that I made so far on this blanket is that this brown was supposed to be four rounds, I think. 4 rounds, and I did 6 rounds, but I'm not ripping back 2 rounds because I took it with me on my trip up north, and it was in the car, and I was just crocheting, and I didn't think to check. And it's no big deal. It's in my house, so it's like, oh well, right? And I'm not ripping it out. So I'm happy with it. My husband is loving it, and I think that this will be, I love how, I was going to say, I think this will be a blanket that one of my boys will want to take eventually, but it's totally my colors. It matches the colors in my home, and I can't wait to see it done. Now, I am kind of sort of giving myself a timeline for this blanket because I want it to be done by the end of January so that I can start on working on a wedding present for a friend's beautiful daughter who's getting married in May. So I have to start in February and make her present. So yeah. But this for a better picture of me and this blanket, you guys can check out the Ravelry page. I'll put a picture in the group, and I also put a picture on Instagram. You guys, I wanted to talk to you guys about the crochet move blanket that's going around. Like it's a disease in there. I've caught it too. It started on Instagram. And there's a group on Ravelry, but because the sun is playing tricks on me, I'll talk to you guys about that next week. Oh, and as far as a positive thought, I just wanted to share with you guys that this week I went through a little moment, and it was a moment, y'all. I was having a moment, feeling myself, and I was feeling that I am good at a lot of things, but I don't feel like I'm great at anything. And I don't mean like being a mother or a wife, but I mean just crafty. You know, I want to be great at something, and I just don't feel like I am. And I was having a woe is me, but I totally snapped out of it immediately because it does not benefit anyone for me to linger in that frame of mind. But what I did do was when my husband came home from work the next morning, I talked it over with him just to let him know that I was feeling like that. And he was like, I acknowledge your feelings, and I get that you feel like that. And that was, to me, it was enough. So for those of you who may feel like you guys are, you're not great or at anything, or sometimes that even that you might not be enough, you know what? You are enough. Like, you as you are, you're enough. That's it. And it is just wonderful to be alive, and it's wonderful. It is a blessing. I feel blessed and privileged to be able to try my hand at all the things that I try my hand at, because a lot of people can't afford it. A lot of people don't have the time, and some people just don't have the energy. So I just feel happy about that. So yeah. So people, you are enough. And my husband even said too that it really is time. It is time. And it is about what I want to dedicate my time to. And right now in my life, I made my kids are bigger than me. So my biggest commitment is to my kids, to my marriage, to my husband, to my home, and then to myself. And once they go away, matter of fact, my husband was just saying, I don't know what's going to become of us when the kids go. Oh, I know what's going to become of me. I'm going to be like master crafter. So, okay, that's it. I'm just saying, you guys. You feel me? You feel me? Okay. Anyways, that's it. The sun is playing tricks on me. I'm not going to sit here and podcast again no more, you guys. Again, no more. Because this is ridiculous. Anywho's, I hope that you guys have a wonderful week full of knitting, crocheting, sewing, parenting, working, stash enhancing, stash rounding out, whatever that you guys do. I hope it's wonderful. And I hope that you guys will join me next time here, but not in this spot, where I'll be positively knitting. Bye.